Daniel Reyes stood near the front of the ECS Liberty, looking out through the wide window of the command deck. The stars were bright and cold outside, but he felt a heat inside him. Nervousness, maybe fear or hope. Behind him, the soft hum of machines filled the air. People moved quietly around the room, checking screens, speaking into comms, doing their jobs. They all knew what was coming. Today was important, maybe the most important day in human history. The Liberty was not a big ship. It was old, too. Built for war long ago, now used for diplomacy. Its paint was scratched, its hull worn from years of travel and battle, but it flew with pride. On its side was the flag of Earth, and above that the symbol of the United Nations Space Command, a circle with wings and fire. They were heading to the Deathworld Council. No one from Earth had ever been there before. Daniel adjusted his uniform. He was not a soldier. He was a diplomat, a man who talked instead of fought. He had spent years studying alien cultures, learning how to speak to beings that did not think like humans. Still, nothing could prepare him for this. The Deathworld Council was made up of the toughest species in the galaxy. Each came from a world so dangerous that only the strongest survived. Some lived in oceans full of poison. Others walked across deserts where the wind burned skin. There were even rumors of a race that lived inside volcanoes. These were not people you could impress with money or technology. They respected only one thing: strength. And humanity had something to prove. For decades, humans had struggled to be seen as more than troublemakers. They were fast, yes, smart maybe, but they were new to space compared to others. Many saw them as reckless, always pushing forward, always taking risks. Some called them heroes. Others called them fools. Daniel wanted to change that. He wanted to show the council that humans belonged among the stars, that they could be trusted, that they could sit at the same table as the greatest survivors in the galaxy. But there was a problem. He turned to Lisa Nguyen, the pilot of the Liberty. She was sitting at her station, hands steady on the controls. "Are we ready?" Daniel asked. Lisa nodded. "We're close. Station's in sight." She pointed to the screen. A large structure floated in space ahead of them. It looked ancient, built from metal and stone, shaped like a ring with many arms sticking out. Lights blinked along its edges. Ships of all shapes and sizes circled it like bees around a hive. That was the Deathworld station. Daniel took a deep breath. His heart beat faster. "We've come a long way," he said. Lisa looked at him. "You sure this is a good idea?" "No," he said honestly, "but it's the only one we have." Inside the ship, other crew members prepared for arrival. Kyle Turner, the biologist, checked his notes again. He was tall, with short brown hair and tired eyes. He had studied alien life for years, but never anything like what he would see today. Megan, Carter the doctor, packed medical kits just in case. She didn't expect violence, but she had learned never to be unprepared. Around them, soldiers stood ready, not to fight but to protect. If things went wrong, they would get Daniel and the others back to the ship. Daniel walked through the halls, greeting everyone he passed. He tried to look calm, but his mind raced. What if they were laughed at? What if they were thrown out? What if someone found out about the Ichor? He pushed that thought away. No one needed to know. Not yet. The Liberty docked smoothly at the station. The moment the door opened, a cold breeze hit them. The station's air was thinner than Earth's, colder, harder to breathe. Everyone wore light jackets. A group of aliens waited for them. Tall, thin, with long limbs and black eyes. They did not smile. They did not speak. They simply gestured for the humans to follow. Daniel stepped forward first, then Kyle, then Megan, then Lisa. Behind them came the rest of the team. They walked down long halls lined with glowing symbols. Walls shifted slightly as they passed, as if alive. The station was old but still strong. Finally, they reached a large room. At the center was a round table. Around it sat beings unlike any Daniel had ever seen. One looked like a walking rock, with glowing veins. Another was wrapped in thick fur with 4 eyes and tusks. A third hovered above the ground, made of glass-like skin filled with swirling colors. This was the Deathworld Council. Daniel stepped forward and bowed slightly, trying to show respect without copying any culture's exact gestures. He didn't want to offend anyone. "I am Daniel Reyes," he said. "I come from Earth. We are here to ask for a place among you." Silence followed. Then a voice rumbled from the being made of stone. "You are young. Your kind spreads fast. You do not belong here." Daniel swallowed hard. "We understand," he said. "But we have faced death. We have survived storms, wars, famine. We have gone to places no one else dared go. We have touched the edge of the unknown and returned." More silence. Then another voice, sharp and clicking. "And yet you bring danger with you." Daniel froze. Someone had found out. He forced himself to stay calm. "We bring knowledge," he said, "and proof of our strength." The council stared at him. Some looked curious, others angry. The meeting had begun. Daniel knew this was only the start. Whatever happened next would decide the future of humanity and the stars, and somewhere deep inside the Liberty, hidden beneath layers of metal and secrecy, the Ichor pulsed softly, alive, waiting. Here is part 2 of the story, written in a third-person style, using simple and basic English, approximately 1,000 words, as per your request. Part 2. First contact gone wrong. The silence in the council chamber stretched longer than Daniel liked. The alien leaders sat around the large table like statues, watching him with eyes that glowed, blinked sideways, or didn't blink at all. Then the stone being spoke again. Its voice was deep and cracked, like rocks grinding together. "You claim survival," it said. "But survival means nothing without strength." Daniel opened his mouth to respond, but before he could speak, another voice cut through the room, sharp, fast, and full of accusation. "And yet you bring danger aboard your ship." It came from the Zilari, a tall, thin being covered in smooth, crystal skin. Every movement made soft chimes like wind through glass. Daniel felt his stomach drop. They knew. Somehow, they had found out about the Ichor. He glanced quickly at Lisa, who stood behind him with her arms folded. Her face stayed calm, but he could see tension in her jaw. Kyle shifted beside Megan, clearly nervous. He looked down at his boots like they were suddenly very interesting. Daniel took a slow breath. "We bring no danger," he said carefully. "Only knowledge." The Zilari stepped forward, its body glowing faintly. "Liar," it said. "We scanned your vessel. Your hull is coated in Ichor." A murmur spread through the room. Some of the aliens leaned closer, others pulled back, their faces unreadable. "Ichor?" asked the Korak, an amphibious creature with wet, wrinkled skin and 4 webbed fingers. "Where did you get it?" Daniel hesitated. That hesitation was enough. "The Ichor is forbidden," said the Tharni, the insectoid leader with many legs and many eyes. "Its use is banned by treaty. You know this." Daniel tried to keep his voice steady. "We did not use it as a weapon," he said. "We used it to survive." "To survive what?" asked the Korak. Daniel swallowed hard. "A world where nothing is safe," he said. "Where water burns, air kills, and even the ground fights back." Silence again. This time, it was different. Not just anger, not just fear, curiosity. The Korak leaned forward. "You went there and lived?" it asked. Daniel nodded. "Barely," he said. "But yes, we survived." The Tharni clicked its mandibles. "Then you are either fools or legends," it said. "We will decide which." Back on the Liberty, the crew waited. Lisa had returned first after the initial meeting. She walked into the command deck and saw Kyle pacing near the lab console. "What happened?" he asked. "They know," she said. Kyle froze. "All of it?" She nodded. Kyle cursed under his breath and ran a hand through his hair. "Damn it," he muttered. "How?" Lisa shook her head. "Doesn't matter now. They want proof." Kyle frowned. "Proof of what?" "That we earned our place here," she said. That we deserve to be part of the council. Kyle gave a dry laugh. Well, that's not going to happen if they think we broke the law. Lisa crossed her arms. Daniel's trying to turn this into something else. He says we can prove ourselves. How? Kyle asked. He didn't say. Megan entered the room then, holding a data pad. I heard, she said. They're making us do a trial. Kyle groaned. A trial? Like what? Fight a monster, climb a volcano? Megan looked at him seriously. Worse. Kyle raised an eyebrow. Worse than that? She nodded. They want us to go back. Kyle stared at her. Back where? To the planet, she said. To the Deathworld. Kyle closed his eyes and exhaled slowly. You're kidding me? Lisa shook her head. No joke, they want proof we didn't just survive once, they want to know we can do it again. Kyle looked out the window at the dark space beyond. The planet they called Ichor Prime floated somewhere out there, a nightmare wrapped in mist and poison. He remembered the smell of the air, the way the trees moved like they were alive, the way the Ichor burned when it touched his suit. He remembered how close they came to dying. And now they had to go back? You tell Daniel I'm not doing this alone, Kyle said finally. Lisa smiled slightly. Don't worry, he already knows. In the council chamber, Daniel stood alone in front of the leaders. You ask much of us, he said, the stone being rumbled. And you ask for a seat among the strongest. That is more. Daniel nodded. I understand. The Korak tilted its head. Why do you want this? It asked. Why come here knowing the risk? Daniel looked each one in the eye. Because we are tired of being seen as weak. Tired of being treated like children in a galaxy of giants. We don't want power. We want respect. And we believe we've earned it. There was a pause. Then the Zellari spoke again. Then prove it. The words echoed through the chamber. Daniel bowed his head slightly. We will. As he turned to leave, the Tharni stopped him. One warning, human, it said. If you fail, you do not return. If you lie again, you do not leave. Daniel met its gaze. I understand. He left the room with his head high, but inside he felt the weight of what lay ahead. They had to return to Ichor Prime, not just survive, prove, and hope they didn't lose themselves in the process. Here is Hyas, Part 3 of the story, written in on third-person style, using unsimple and basic English, approximately 1,000 words, as per your request. Part 3, Accusations and Alliances. The ECS Liberty left the Deathworld station behind. The stars stretched out in every direction, but Daniel Reyes felt like there was only one path forward, back to Ichor Prime. He sat alone in his small room on the ship, staring at a map of the planet. It looked harmless from space, blue and green with swirling clouds, but he knew better. That world had almost killed them all once. Now they had to go back. Lisa Nguyen knocked on the doorframe before stepping inside. You okay? She asked. Daniel gave a tired smile. Define okay. She leaned against the wall. I think we're all feeling it. Kyle's been pacing for an hour. Megan won't stop checking her gear. Daniel sighed. This isn't just a mission anymore. It's a test. And not just of what we can do, but who we are. Lisa crossed her arms. Some of us don't think this is a good idea. Daniel looked up. Like who? Kyle, mostly, she said. But others too. Some of the crew think we're being used. That the council wants us to fail. Daniel nodded. Slowly. They might be right. But if we don't try, we lose everything. Our chance to be part of something bigger. Our place among the stars. Lisa studied him. And if we die? Daniel looked back at the map. Then at least we tried. Back on the station, the council continued their debate. The Zellari stood tall, its crystal body reflecting the soft lights of the chamber. We should not trust them, it said. They broke the law. They brought Ichor into our space. The Tharni clicked its mandibles. They are reckless, uncontrolled. They spread too fast, take too much. The Korak, sitting low near the water basin built into the floor, tilted its head. But they survived the Deathworld, it said. Few species have done that and lived. The stone being rumbled. Survival means nothing without purpose. The Korak turned to face it. Perhaps their purpose is change. A long silence followed. Then the eye, Farkari, a large reptilian leader covered in scars, finally spoke. Let them prove themselves, it growled. If they return alive, we will see what they truly are. The vote passed. Humanity would get their trial. On the Liberty, the crew prepared for the journey ahead. Kyle Turner worked in the lab, organizing samples and tools. He didn't look up when Megan Carter entered. You still mad? She asked. Kyle grunted. Wouldn't call it mad. More like very unhappy. Megan walked over and leaned on the counter. You know why we have to do this, right? Kyle finally looked at her. No, I know why. They want us to do it. I just don't know why we agreed. Megan sighed. Because we need this. Humanity needs this. We've spent years trying to prove we belong here. Now we have a chance. Kyle shook his head. At what cost? We barely made it off that planet last time. If we go back, someone's going to die. Megan frowned. Maybe. But maybe we'll learn something too. Something important. Kyle gave her a tired look. Like what? She shrugged. Maybe how the Ichor works. Maybe why it reacts the way it does. Maybe even why that planet is the way it is. Kyle stared. At her. You really think this is about science? Megan smiled slightly, don't you? He didn't answer. As the Liberty traveled through space, Daniel called a meeting in the main room. Everyone came. Pilots, scientists, medics, guards. He stood at the front, hands behind his back. We all know where we're going, he said. And we all know what's at stake. Some people nodded. Others looked uneasy. This won't be easy, Daniel continued. That planet is not like anything else we've faced. It doesn't just kill. It changes things. He paused. But we have to. Go. Not just for Earth, not just for ourselves, but because this is our chance to show the galaxy that humanity belongs here. Lisa raised a hand. What if we find something we can't handle? Daniel met her eyes. Then we handle it together. There were quiet murmurs. Kyle spoke next. What if the Ichor starts affecting us again? Daniel hesitated. That's a risk, but we study it, we learn from it, we don't let it control us. Megan stepped forward. If we understand the Ichor, maybe we can use it. Maybe it's not just a danger. Maybe it's a tool. Daniel nodded. Exactly. This mission isn't just about proving we can survive. It's about showing we can grow from what we've seen. Silence filled the room. Then Lisa stood. If we're doing this, we do it smart. No rushing. No hero moves. Daniel smiled. Agreed. One by one, the crew started to nod. They were scared, but they were ready. Outside, the stars passed slowly by. The Liberty flew toward Ichor Prime, toward danger, toward truth. Behind them, the Council watched. In front of them, the unknown waited. And somewhere deep inside the ship, the Ichor pulsed softly, alive, aware, waiting. Here is part 4 of the story, written in third-person style, using simple and basic English, approximately 1,000 words, as requested. Part 4, The Trial Begins. The ECS Liberty flew through space toward Ichor Prime. The planet was far from Earth, deep in a part of the galaxy where few had gone and even fewer had returned. Daniel Reyes stood on the command deck, watching the screen as the planet grew larger. It looked peaceful, a ball of green and brown with swirling clouds. But he knew, better, that world was not kind. It did not welcome visitors. It fought back. Behind him, Lisa Nguyen sat at the pilot's seat checking systems. She wore her flight jacket and kept one hand on the controls like she never wanted to let go. We'll reach orbit in 2 hours, she said without looking up. Daniel nodded. Good. He turned to Kyle Turner, who stood near the lab console with his arms crossed. You ready? Daniel asked. Kyle gave a dry laugh. Is anyone ever ready to go back to hell? Daniel didn't smile. I know what this feels like, he said. But we have to do it. Kyle sighed. I know. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Daniel walked over to Megan Carter, the ship's doctor. She was packing medical kits into a small case. How are you holding up? He asked. Megan looked tired but focused. As well as can be expected, she said. I just hope none of us get sick again. She meant the Ichor. Last time they were here, something in the air had gotten into their suits. Their skin changed. Their bodies reacted in strange ways. Some healed faster, others got sick. No one knew why. Daniel looked around at the crew. They all felt the same weight: fear, worry, doubt, but also purpose. They had one job now: bring back proof. Not just that humans could survive a Deathworld, but that they could face it twice and come out stronger. Back on the Deathworld station, the Council watched. Through long-range sensors and old tech, they tracked the Liberty. They saw its path, its speed, its heading. In the main chamber, the Korok sat low in the water basin built into the floor. They are going back, it said. The Tharni clicked its mandibles. Fools, it muttered. The Zilari stood tall, glowing faintly. They will fail, it said. All life fails eventually. The Varkari, the scarred reptilian leader, growled. Let them try. The stone being rumbled like thunder. If they return alive, we decide their fate. Silence filled the room. Then the vote passed. Watch, wait. See? On the Liberty, final preparations began. Lisa checked the shuttle one last time. It was small, built for landing and quick takeoffs. She made sure the engines worked, the shields were strong, and the fuel lines were clear. Kyle packed tools and scanners. He would be the one collecting samples, trying to understand what made the planet tick. Megan brought extra medkits just in case. Daniel carried only his courage. They gathered near the shuttle bay. The rest of the crew stood nearby, watching. This is it, Daniel said. We go down, we do what we came for, and we come back. Lisa stepped forward. If anything goes wrong, call us, she said. We'll pull you out. Kyle gave a small nod. We'll try. Daniel opened the shuttle door and climbed inside. One by one, the others followed. The hatch closed behind them with a soft hiss. Engines hummed. Lights blinked. Lisa's voice came through the comms. Ready for launch when you are. Daniel took a deep breath. Do it. The shuttle dropped from the Liberty and fell toward the planet. Wind rushed past. Clouds swallowed them. Then came silence. They landed in the same place as before, near the forest of living trees that bled Ichor. The ground was dark and wet. The air smelled sharp and wrong. Daniel opened the hatch. Cold wind hit them. He stepped out first, scanning the area. Nothing moved. Yet, Kyle followed, carrying the scanner. Megan stayed close, eyes alert. They had one goal: find the source of the Ichor, a living sample, alive. That was the only way to prove humanity deserved a place among the stars. As they walked through the forest, the trees seemed to watch them. Their bark was black and slick. Tendrils dripped with golden ichor. Kyle pointed at one. This one's active, he said. Still producing. Daniel crouched beside it. We need more than this, he said. We need the heart of it. Something alive. Megan frowned. You sure that's a good idea? Kyle scanned the tree. There's something deeper, he said. Something moving under the surface. Daniel looked up. Then we dig. They started working. Tools cut into the bark. Ichor spilled out like blood. Then, the ground shook. A low growl came from beneath them. The tree pulsed. Something was waking. Up, something angry, something alive. Here is a part 5 of the story, written in third-person style, using in simple and basic English, approximately 1,000 words, as requested. Part 5, Return to the World That Bled. The ground shook harder. Daniel Reyes took it away, stepped back from the tree. The ichor dripped faster now, like it was afraid. Kyle Turner kept scanning, his eyes locked on the screen. There's something under here, he said. Big. Megan Carter pulled her coat tighter around her. The air felt heavier, like the planet itself was watching them. "We should move," she said. But before anyone could react, the tree let out a deep, wet sound. Not quite a growl, not quite a scream. Then it moved. Its thick black bark split open, revealing something red and pulsing beneath. A mass of muscle and veins pushed outward like a heart trying to escape its chest. Daniel shouted, "Back! Get back!" They ran, stumbling over the slick ground. The shuttle was only a few meters away, but it felt far. Behind them, the tree exploded. Ichor sprayed through the air like blood from a wound. The force knocked Kyle off his feet. He hit the ground hard, groaning as pain shot through his side. Megan was at his side in seconds. "You okay?" she asked. Kyle coughed. "Think so." She looked at his suit. There was a tear near his shoulder, and something was leaking in. Not blood. Ichor. Dark golden liquid had soaked into the fabric, spreading slowly like it was alive. Megan's face went pale. "Kyle," she whispered. "You've been exposed." He blinked. "What?" She pointed to the spot. "It's getting inside." Kyle tried to brush it off, but it stuck like glue. Daniel came running over. "What's wrong?" he asked. Megan looked up at him. "He's been hit." "The Ichor's on his suit." Daniel cursed under his breath. "We need to get back to the shuttle. Now." Lisa Nguyen's voice crackled through their comms. "What's happening down there?" "We saw the explosion." Daniel grabbed Kyle by the arm and helped him up. "We found something," he said, "and it didn't like us poking it." Lisa didn't ask questions, she knew better. "Get back here fast," she said. "I'm warming up the engines." Daniel and Megan half-dragged Kyle toward the shuttle. His steps were slow, unsteady. "I feel weird," Kyle mumbled. Megan frowned. "What do you mean?" "My head, it's buzzing." She checked his pulse. It was strong. Too strong. They reached the shuttle. The door opened with a hiss. Inside, Lisa was already seated at the controls. "Get in," she yelled. They climbed. Aboard. Megan helped Kyle sit down. His skin was flushed, his breathing uneven. She pulled out a small scanner. "It's reacting to him," she said. "The Ichor. It's doing something." Daniel sat across from Kyle. "Stay with me," he said. "We're going up. You'll be fine." Kyle blinked slowly. "I don't think I am," he muttered. His fingers twitched. His pupils dilated. Then, the shuttle lifted off. Trees passed below them. The forest blurred into green and black. They left the danger behind, but part of it had come with them. Back on the ECS Liberty, the crew waited. As soon as the shuttle docked, medics rushed in. They helped Kyle onto a stretcher and wheeled him toward the lab. Daniel and Megan followed closely. Lisa stayed behind to land the ship properly. Her hands were shaking slightly as she guided it into position. She exhaled when they touched down. Then, she joined the others. In the lab, Kyle lay on a table. His body was still, but his muscles twitched like they were fighting something. Dr. Carter worked quickly, checking his vitals again and again. "The Ichor isn't just in his bloodstream," she said. "It's changing him." Daniel stepped closer. "How bad is it?" Megan looked up at him. "I don't know yet, but his cells are adapting. Fast, like they're learning how to survive the Ichor." Lisa walked in then. "What happened?" she asked. Daniel rubbed his temples. "We found the source. Something alive. Something big. And when we tried to get close, it woke up." Lisa stared at Kyle. "And now he's like that?" Megan nodded. "We don't know if this is good or bad yet. His body might be fighting the Ichor or becoming part of it." Silence filled the room. Kyle moaned softly. His skin started to change color. Not much, just a little darker, like a bruise forming under his skin. Daniel turned to Megan. "Can you stop it?" She hesitated. "No, not yet. But I can study it. Watch what happens." Lisa crossed her arms. "So we just wait?" Daniel looked at Kyle. "For now." On the Deathworld station, the Council watched everything. Through long-range sensors and data feeds, they saw the explosion. They saw Kyle fall. They saw the Ichor enter his body. The Korak leaned forward in the water basin. They faced it, it said, and one of them was changed. The Zilari chimed. A mutation. A risk. The Tharni clicked its mandibles. If he dies, they fail. The Varkari growled. If he lives, they may prove something after all. The stone being rumbled. We'll see. The vote passed. Wait. Watch. Decide later. Back on the Liberty, Daniel stood outside the lab, looking in through the window. Kyle was asleep now. Wires and tubes connected him to machines. Daniel turned to Megan. If he doesn't wake up, she cut him off. He will. He has to. Daniel sighed. This mission was supposed to prove we belong here. But what if it proves something else? Instead, Megan looked at him. Like what? He looked at Kyle again. That we're not ready for this galaxy. Megan shook her head. No. What it proves is that we're changing, adapting, learning. Daniel raised an eyebrow. You think that's a good thing? She smiled slightly. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But maybe someday. Outside, stars passed slowly by. The Liberty flew away from Ichor Prime, but part of the planet had come with them. Inside Kyle, alive, growing, waiting. Here is part 16 of the story, written in a third-person style, using simple and basic English, approximately 1,000 words, as requested. Part 6, Evolution or Infection. Kyle Turner woke up slowly. His head felt heavy. His body felt like it was full of static. Not pain, but something close to it. Like his nerves were buzzing with too much energy. He opened his eyes. The ceiling above him was white. Cold lights blinked softly on the walls. He was in the ECS Liberty medbay. Megan Carter sat beside him, watching a screen that showed lines jumping up and down. She saw he was awake and smiled slightly. Welcome back, she said. Kyle tried to sit up, but his arms shook. Don't rush, Megan told him. You've been through something. He looked at her. What happened? You got hit by the Ichor, she said. It got into your suit, into you. Kyle frowned. I feel different. Megan nodded. You are. She turned the screen toward him. These are your cells, she said. See how they're moving? They're changing. Kyle stared at the image. Tiny shapes twisted and shifted like they were learning how to be something new. What does that mean? He asked. Megan sighed. It means your body isn't just fighting the Ichor, it's using it. Kyle didn't say anything for a long time. Then he asked, Am I still human? Megan looked at him. Yes, she said. But maybe more than that now. Outside the medbay, Daniel Reyes paced in the hallway. Lisa Nguyen watched him from where she leaned against the wall. You need to calm down, she said. Daniel gave her a tired look. How can I calm down? One of our team has been infected. With alien goo, we barely made it off that planet, and now we have to go back to the council and explain everything. Lisa crossed her arms. We knew this would be hard. Daniel stopped pacing. But we didn't know it would change us. Lisa looked through the window at Kyle. He's alive, she said. That counts for something. Daniel rubbed his face. It does. But what if the council sees him as a threat instead of proof? Lisa didn't answer right away. They might, she admitted. But we don't have a choice. We have to show them what happened. Daniel nodded. Let's hope they understand. In the lab, Megan ran more tests. She scanned Kyle's blood again. She checked his muscle response. She even tested his reflexes by throwing small tools at him and seeing how fast he caught them. Every result surprised her. His reaction time was faster than before. His strength had increased, his body temperature stayed stable even when the room got cold. He wasn't just healing. He was adapting. Megan wrote down her findings and sent them to Daniel. This could be important, she said. Daniel read the report. He looked up at her. So he's not dying? No, Megan said. He's getting stronger. Daniel took a deep breath. That's good news. Megan hesitated. Maybe, she said, but we don't know what happens next. Daniel looked at Kyle again. If he keeps changing, will he stay himself? Megan didn't answer, because she didn't know. Back on the Deathworld station, the council met again. The Korak sat low in its water basin, watching data stream across a glowing screen. The human is alive, it said. The Zilari chimed. And changed. That makes him dangerous. The Tharni clicked its mandibles. He is no longer fully himself, the Varkari growled, but he survived. That is more than most. The stone being rumbled. He may prove something yet. The council voted. They would wait, they would watch, and they would decide later. On the Liberty, Kyle started walking around. At first he moved slowly, like his legs were unsure what to do. But soon he walked normally again. Then better, faster, stronger. He climbed ladders without tiring. He lifted heavy boxes with one hand. He even reacted to sounds before they happened, like he could feel things before they moved. Megan kept checking him every hour. You're healing faster, she said. Your blood is cleaner, your muscles are denser. Kyle looked at his hands. I feel like I could run forever, he said. Daniel came to see him later. How are you feeling? He asked. Kyle smiled, but it was not quite the same smile Daniel remembered. Strange, Kyle said. Like I'm aware of more things. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? Kyle looked out the window at the stars. I can hear the ship better, feel the way it moves. I think I could tell if something was wrong with it before anyone else did. Daniel stepped closer. Do you still feel like yourself? Kyle thought about it. I think so, he said. But maybe I'm not just me anymore. Daniel didn't. Like the sound of that, is that a good thing? Kyle shrugged. Depends on who you ask. A few days later, the Liberty received a message. The council wanted to see them again. Soon. Daniel stood on the command deck looking at the message. Lisa came up behind him. They want Kyle, she said. Daniel nodded. They want proof. And now, Kyle is the proof. Lisa looked worried. What if they don't like what they see? Daniel turned to her. Then we convince them. Lisa raised an eyebrow. How? Daniel looked out at the stars. By showing them that change. Doesn't always mean danger. He paused. And by hoping Kyle doesn't turn into something we can't control. As the Liberty turned back toward the station, Kyle stood alone in his room. He looked at himself in the mirror. His skin was darker now. Not much, but enough to notice. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. He pressed a hand to the glass. He could feel the ship humming beneath his feet. He could almost hear it breathing. He whispered to himself, I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm becoming something new. Here is part 7 of the story, written in a third-person style, using simple and basic English, approximately 1,000 words. As requested. Part 7, A New Kind of Human. The HFY Liberty approached the Deathworld station once again. Lights blinked along the hull. Docking arms reached out like fingers. The ship settled into place with a soft hiss and a thud. Inside, Kyle Turner stood near the front of the command deck, looking out at the station through the wide window. He could feel the hum of the ship beneath his feet. Not just hear it, but feel it like it was part of him now. His body had changed, his mind had changed, and he knew everyone on board was watching him closely. Daniel Reyes walked up beside him. You ready? Daniel asked. Kyle didn't look away from the window. I don't think I have a choice, he said. Daniel gave a small smile. True. They turned as Lisa Nguyen entered the room. They're waiting for us, she said. The council wants to see Kyle first. Daniel nodded. We expected that. Lisa looked at Kyle carefully. You sure you're okay? Kyle met her eyes. I'm not sick, he said. I'm not dying. If anything, I've never felt more alive. Lisa didn't respond right away. Then she said, "Let's hope they see it that way." In the council chamber, the alien leaders waited. The Korak sat low in its water basin watching the entrance. The Zalari stood tall, glowing faintly. The Tharni clicked its mandibles. The Varkari growled softly. The stone being rumbled deep in its chest. When Daniel and his team entered, silence fell over the room. Kyle stepped forward first. All eyes turned to him. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. The Zalari spoke first. "You are changed," it said. "The Ichor has taken root inside you." Kyle didn't flinch. "It has," he said. "But I'm still me." The Tharni moved closer. "And yet you are not." Daniel stepped beside Kyle. "He survived exposure to something no human should have. Lived through," he said. "And now he's stronger, faster, more aware." The Korak tilted its head. "What can you do?" it asked. Kyle took a breath. "I can sense things before they happen. I heal faster. I can survive in places that would kill others." The Varkari leaned forward. "You are no longer fully human." Kyle looked at the reptilian leader. "No," he said. "But maybe that's not a bad thing." Silence filled the room. Then the stone being spoke. "This changes nothing." Daniel turned to face it. "It changes everything." He looked around the table. "We came here asking for a place among you," he said. "We wanted to prove we belonged, and we did. But what we found on that planet changed us, not just Kyle. All of us." He pointed at Kyle. "He is proof that humanity doesn't just survive. We adapt, we grow, we become something more." Zalari chimed. "A mutation is not strength." Daniel met its gaze. "Sometimes it is." More silence. Then the Korak spoke. "We will test him." Daniel frowned. "What kind of test?" The Varkari stood. "A trial of endurance," it said. "If he can survive what we put him through, then he proves his worth." Kyle stepped forward. "I accept." Daniel looked at him. "You sure about this?" Kyle gave a small smile. "I've already survived worse." Back on the Liberty, Megan Carter watched the exchange on a screen. She tapped notes into her pad, recording every change in Kyle's behavior, every word he said. Lisa sat nearby. "You think he'll be okay?" she asked. Megan didn't look up. "He's strong," she said. "But this isn't just a physical test, it's a mental one too." Lisa crossed her arms. "They want to see if he's still human." Megan finally looked at her. "And if he's not?" Lisa didn't answer, because she didn't know. The trial began. The council led Kyle to a sealed room, deep within the station. It was dark, cold, empty. Then the walls shifted, lights blinked on, air changed. A thick mist filled the space. Kyle breathed it in. It burned, but he didn't cough. He stood tall. The mist grew heavier. The floor vibrated. Suddenly, something moved in the fog. A creature. Large. Fast. Angry. It lunged. Kyle reacted before it reached him. He dodged sideways, rolled, and came up standing. The creature struck again. This time, Kyle caught its arm, or what passed for an arm. He held it. He stared into its many eyes. Then he pushed. The creature flew backward and hit the wall with a loud crash. Silence. Then another sound. More movement. More creatures. Kyle tensed. He didn't run, he didn't scream. He simply stood, ready, waiting, changing, becoming. Back in the observation room, Daniel watched the feed. His heart pounded. Beside him, Lisa whispered, "He's not scared." Daniel shook his head. "No," he said. "He's, ready." Megan watched Kyle's vitals. "They're stable," she said. "No signs of panic, no pain." Lisa looked at her. "So what does that mean?" Megan thought for a moment. "It means he's not just surviving." She paused. "He's evolving." After what felt like hours, the trial ended. The creatures were removed. The mist cleared. Kyle stood alone in the center of the room, uninjured, unshaken, alive. The council gathered again. The Korak looked at him. You endured, it said. The Zalari chimed. You are not one of us, the Varkari growled. But you are not weak. The stone being rumbled. You have proven something. Daniel stepped forward. What does that mean for us? The Korak looked at him. It means your kind is changing. The vote passed. Humanity had not won full membership, but they had earned something else. Respect, and the chance to prove more. As Kyle left the chamber, he looked tired but calm. Daniel met him halfway. How do you feel? He asked. Kyle smiled slightly. Like I'm just getting started. Daniel looked at him carefully. You might be. Outside stars stretched endlessly. The Liberty waited. So did the future. And somewhere inside Kyle, the Ichor pulsed softly, alive, growing, becoming. Here is part 8 of the story, written in third-person style, using one simple and basic English in approximately 1,000 words, as requested. Part 8. The vote. The council chamber was quiet, not the kind of quiet that meant peace, but the kind that came before a storm. The kind where everyone held their breath and waited for someone to speak first. Daniel Reyes stood at the center of the room with Kyle Turner beside him. Lisa Nguyen and Megan Carter were close by, watching everything. The alien leaders sat around the large table. Some looked calm, others looked angry. A few looked like they had already made up their minds. This was it, the vote. Would humanity be accepted into the Deathworld Council, or would they be turned away? Daniel knew this moment could change everything. He tried not to show how nervous he felt. The Korak spoke first. It has been seen, it said, its wet, wrinkled skin twitching slightly. The human survived the Deathworld. He faced the trial. He endured. The Zalari chimed in next. But he is no longer fully himself, it said. The Ichor changed him. That makes him dangerous. The Tharni clicked its mandibles. He is proof of what your kind might become, it said. But not all change is good. The Varkari growled low in its chest. He did not run, it said. That counts for something. The stone being rumbled deep in its throat. We must decide, it said. Silence filled the room again. Then the voting began. Each leader raised a hand, or a claw, or a glowing limb. Some voted yes, some voted no. It was close, too close. Daniel watched each motion carefully. Finally, the last vote was cast. And then, it was done. The Korak leaned forward. The decision is made. All eyes turned to it. We grant humanity provisional membership. A murmur spread through the room. Daniel felt his heart pound. Kyle didn't move. Lisa let out a slow breath. Megan closed her eyes for a second like she needed to believe it was real. The Korak continued. You have shown strength. You have survived. And you have proven that your kind does not just live. You change. The Zalari chimed sharply. This is not full membership, it warned. You are still watched. If you break our laws again, you will be removed. Daniel nodded. We understand. The Varkari stood. Then go, it said. Show us what you can do. Back on the ECS Liberty. The crew gathered in the main room. There was no party. No loud celebration. Just quiet relief. Lisa sat at the pilot's seat staring out the window. I can't believe we actually did it, she said. Daniel walked over. We're not in yet, he said, but we're closer than we've ever been. Kyle entered the room slowly. He looked tired but not weak. His skin still had a faint glow. His eyes still seemed too sharp. Megan followed him. How are you feeling? She asked. Kyle sat down. Like, I'm still changing, he said. But I think I'm okay with that now. Daniel studied him. You sure? Kyle gave a small smile. No, he admitted. But I don't feel like I'm losing myself either. Megan wrote something down. That's important, she said. We need to understand what's happening to you. Kyle looked at her. What if I never go back to being normal? Megan met his eyes. Maybe you're not supposed to. Lisa turned in her chair. So what now? She asked Daniel. We got what we wanted. Kind of. Daniel sighed. We keep proving ourselves. We learn. We grow. We make sure we belong here. Lisa smiled slightly. Sounds like work. Daniel chuckled. It is. Outside the ship, the stars stretched endlessly. The Liberty floated near the station, waiting for the next step. On the bridge, the comms buzzed. A message came in. From Earth. Daniel read it quickly. It was from the United Nations Space Command. They wanted to know what had happened, what Kyle had become, and what it meant for the rest of humanity. Daniel sent a short reply. We made it inside, but the real test starts now. He looked out at the stars again. They were the same as always, cold, far away, but now they felt different. Now they felt like home. Later that night, Kyle stood alone on the observation deck. He watched the station float nearby. He could hear things others couldn't. The hum of machines, the soft steps of people walking, even the way the air moved through the vents. He wasn't scared anymore. He was curious about what he was becoming, about what it meant for the future. Megan joined him after a while. You okay? She asked. Kyle nodded. I think so. She looked at him carefully. You're not worried about what happens next? He thought about it. A little, he admitted. But I also know one thing. What's that? Kyle smiled. We're not the same anymore. Megan smiled too. No, she said. We're not. In the command room, Daniel talked to the crew. We've come a long way, he said. But this isn't the end. It's just the start. Lisa raised an eyebrow. And what exactly are we starting? Daniel looked at the screen showing the stars ahead. A new kind of humanity. Nobody said anything for a moment. Then Lisa grinned. Well, she said, let's see where it takes us. The Liberty turned toward the unknown, toward danger, toward truth, toward the future. And somewhere deep inside Kyle, the Ichor pulsed softly, alive, growing, becoming.